Hello, Naomi. Welcome to the Healed and Cash Flowing podcast. How are you?
I am great. Thank you.
So good to have you. And I love that you make the time to be with us. And for those that don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Let me tell my background is 18 years in education as a teacher and administrator. So dealing with a lot of stress, burnout, my own health issues.
Mm.
And when I was laid off for the second time, let go, non-renewed, fired, whatever word you want to put on it, I started my own business. And like a lot of people, I was like, well, like, what am I going to do? Like, there's a lot of things I like and that I'm capable of. And I realized I have learned how to manage my stress through my own challenges, but I had to do it all on my own. So I wanted to provide what I didn't have. And so I am a stress and burnout coach and speaker, providing the support to high achievers that I didn't have. Because high achievers, we tend to push ourselves always to the next thing, and we tend to push ourselves to burnout. So that's how I got to where I am as a speaker and coach.
That is amazing. I had to laugh because there's so many ways to say the same thing, right? However, people feel better about saying you got let go or you got laid off, or
Mm-hmm.
I love what you said, not renewed. It can be fired, whatever resonates with people, right? And I love how you came for us right off the bat, overachievers. I'm like, I keep talking to
Right?
right,
Right.
because
Yeah.
we're so passionate about whatever we are passionate about that we can say just one more thing, one more email, one more meeting, one more thing, and then we find ourselves there. So, can you talk us through your own journey of burnout and being an
Yeah.
overachiever?
Absolutely. So, yeah, like always having my next step, my next goal, my next degree, my next. And always trying to be the best at what I did. And there's, like you said, there's always something more you can do, especially when you work in education. There's always more you can do to your lesson plan. There's always more you can do to be a better teacher. And early in my career, I had zero work-life balance, like none. And I got let go from that job, budget cuts in that. And I wouldn't have termed it burnout at that time. I didn't have that terminology. But in that time, I was 4 months out of work because I was let go because I was an expensive person because I had 9 years of experience, master's degree. So that meant I was also an expensive hire. So it took me a long time to find a job. And I actually found a job in pharmacy as a pharmacy tech, which a master's degree at that point. To be a pharmacy tech, you only need a high school degree. Um, and so it was just kind of my step to like, okay, I've got a job. And then like, well, maybe I could be a pharmacist. Like I could go back. I was already contemplating going back to school. And then like spending time there, I was like, no,
No way.
no way. But it was just such a difficult time because I realized I had tied so much of my identity to what I did as a job
Mm.
career that I didn't know who I was without that. And so that leads to burnout because you just throw yourself into it because it's who you are. But then when
Yeah.
you don't have it, you don't have anything. And so really had to work on that. And as a Christian, and there was also the kind of that guilt of as a Christian, my identity should be in who I am in Christ. And I had to go back to that and really build from the foundation of my faith of this is who I am that does not ever change. And that goes for everybody, whatever faith, or even if you don't have faith, you have to have your identity in something that doesn't change and can't be taken away from you because a job can be taken away. Um, and then going back into education, starting my doctoral process and working on moving into administration because someone had spoken that to me, like spoken life into me of like, you could be an administrator, right? And I was like, I could. Like that just hadn't crossed my mind. So stepping into that, going back into the world of education, because that's just the core of who I am. I am an educator. That's just that can't be taken away from me. That
Mm.
is who I am. I am an educator. And so going back into that world, I am one of those people. I love teenagers. I like they're
Really?
people I know most people are like, oh my goodness, they're like the
Yes.
most terrifying. I'm like, no, I love them. Love them. They're brutally honest, but they're kids in big bodies trying to figure out
Mm.
how this world works. So I love working with them. So I went back into the world of education and struggled with toxic work environments multiple times,
Mm.
being lied about, being, backstabbing, manipulation, you name it, like a couple different situations, just super, super toxic, having to leave both, left one. I said, like, I'm done. Here's my letter of resignation. I'm done. The other one, I found a new job. Um, and that was when I was let go a second time. That was in 2022. And, a friend called me, and through this whole process, I was figuring out how to balance work and life. And one of like two things that really were huge in that, or one, that entire time I was battling chronic Lyme disease. So
Wow.
super sick and of no choice of my own, so many things just being taken off my plate because I just couldn't. I couldn't. Like, I
Right.
didn't have a choice physically, mentally, emotionally. I just had to like do what was bare minimum, what I could. And then also working on my doctorate while working full time while sick, I had to figure out as an educator how to get my work done at work. I couldn't take it home because at home I had to sit down and work on coursework, write my dissertation, do my research, all of that. So it really forced me to become very effective with my time at work and using my planning periods of like, I have this time and I have to use it well. So really learning time management to help me with juggling everything and stress management. And so when I was let go, again, realizing like this is who I am. I'm a recovering educator and I can help people who are like me, who are always looking for the next goal, the next step, the next achievement, a little bit more, do a little bit better, rise to the top. But you can do it in a way that's healthy. You can do it in a way that, I know some people push back at the word balance, because it's actually not a balanced life. It's figuring out where to let the seesaw teeter and where to
Mhm.
bring it back up, and when you're coming too far out of balance. So sometimes harmony is a better word for it. We want this beautiful symphony going with this driving line of the rhythm underneath it, and then these different beautiful lines that come and go and rise and fall, making this beautiful piece of music in our lives. But we get to conduct it. We get to decide when this line rises and when it comes back down and when the next one comes up and when all of it kind of decrescendos down to a place of restful peace. And to make a beautiful piece of music, you have to have all of that. And there are times when all of it rises like to that forte and you just have this beautiful crescendo and it's like everything's going all at once, but it comes back down after that. It doesn't stay there. So sometimes a better description is the harmony of a beautiful piece of music.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. And I can tell you're an educator because the way you had that analogy was beautiful. Thank you so much. And I'm like, I almost wanted to stop you. I'm like, don't speed bump right through that identity
Mm-hmm.
outside of what you do because you said it can be taken away. So I just wanted people to take that in for a moment. You are not what you do.
Yes.
You are who you are in like, and I love how beautiful you said it. Who, whatever it is, if it's your faith, how do you call? Some people have different names for God, and God, He's okay. He knows who He is, so
Mm-hmm.
he can take all the names. That's all right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
where is your identity rooted in? And
Yeah.
once your identity is rooted outside of what you do, something that is unmovable, then no matter what happens around you, you're always gonna be okay.
Yes. Yeah. It's that solid foundation of,
Yes. Yes.
I know who I am and I
Yes.
know what I'm called to do. And you can take so many things away from me. But if I know who I am, I have this stability in like in the storms of life. Like the
Yes.
waves will crash, all those things will happen, but I have the stability because I know who I am.
Yeah, and I love that even though, and it's funny because I have been in pharmacy tech and it's not fun at all. It's chaotic and you're always ringing more than you're doing anything else, which is not fun. Ugh. But
Yeah,
anyway, it's a step. It's a step.
it
But
is.
what I love that even though you're an educator, you're using your skills in another setting
Mhm.
because you're still an educator. It's just that you're teaching something else. And I love that we have life is just evolution of us
Mhm.
uncovering, not discovering because it's already there, it's uncovering who we have been all along. And all those lessons, all those jobs, all those reorganizations were part of our process so we can uncover the version of what we were called to do. Because in those, and correct me if I'm wrong, did you pick up some skills while you were teaching that you're using in your business today?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I don't have a degree in business. Like
Yeah,
it was never my dream to become a business owner, but the skills I learned as an educator, like you learn so much in
yeah.
education of time management and speaking. And let me tell you, like give me a room full of teenagers, I can keep them engaged. Like that's one of the most difficult audiences to
Yeah.
speak to and keep their attention. I can tell you, I can stand up in front of a classroom of however many teenagers and I can keep them engaged. So give me a room full of adults. I'm like, all right, I
The
got you.
same thing. They're just older.
Yeah. I'm like, if you want to play on your phones and make me feel like I'm in a classroom of teenagers, go for it. I got
I
you.
got it.
You know,
Oh
so
my
yes,
God.
definitely. I learned skills there that I've been able to apply in the business realm. And now this is stretching me in different ways and things that I
Yeah.
didn't learn there that I'm like, oh, like this is a different world, but I still have skills that I can apply.
Yeah. So we have an audience that's predominantly female and of a certain age. And many of them are juggling different things like motherhood, their wives, they are um, grandmothers sometimes, and they have a business, so they have a career. And you mentioned this beautiful orchestra that is made of so many instruments, which can be a stand in for all the things that we have going on. So, how we as the women who are nurturers and caretakers and love for everyone to be okay. And I have been there myself where I have put everybody else and at
Mhm.
the end put somebody else and I was never on the list. So if you can help them and me sometimes, because we still go back and forth, how do we know which instrument takes the solo and let
Mhm.
others be quiet or take a back seat so we
Yeah.
can shine in that area, because sometimes it's so hard to choose that we want to do them all at once. But how do we recognize that this area of my life needs to be center stage now?
Mhm. Let me go back a little bit on
Yeah,
what you asked first to the not putting yourself on the list.
yeah,
And you are the driving line of your symphony, which means you have to be okay.
yeah.
You have to take care of yourself. And so number one is you've got to be getting sleep. Like that
Oh,
is
yeah,
number one. And you say, but I don't, I have so much to do. I can't sleep.
yeah,
You will be more effective. You will get more
yeah.
done. You will be a nicer person if you're getting the sleep that you need. So that's number one, prioritize your sleep. And then exercise, nutrition, hydration, mindset. Take care of you so that you
Yeah.
can take care of other people. And then when you're trying to figure out which line do I emphasize, which one do I focus on right now, I talk about sometimes the glass and the plastic balls or plates. This kind of depends on what analogy you want to go with. And let's just go with juggling today.
Yeah.
I can't juggle to save my life. I can juggle like the activities in my life when it comes to
Yeah,
balls. I have no skill. But when you're juggling, you don't really want to drop the balls. But at some point, you get too many and something has to go, something has to
yeah.
fall. My encouragement is which balls are glass, which balls are plastic, because the
Mm,
plastic ones can fall and they're not going to break. You'll be able to pick them up at a later time. The glass ones are the ones that are going to shatter and will have irreparable damage when they fall. That's your relationships with your family, your
mm,
spouse, your children, those things. And for each of us, it's going to be a little bit different, but you have to decide what are the glass balls that
mm.
I'm juggling right now that if I drop them, there's going to be irreparable damage.
Yeah,
If I don't show up to the PTA meeting with perfectly made cookies, not a big deal. Like
yeah.
I can stop and pick up Walmart cookies and everyone's going to be fine.
Yep.
If I miss my child's recital, that can have irreparable damage.
Yeah,
I've got to decide what's glass, what's plastic. And plastic, it can fall for a little bit. I can let that go. But those glass ones, I've got to make sure I take care of them and that maybe we need to slow down a little bit so that I really can focus on those glass ones because not everyone gets to have nor deserves the same amount of attention from me. And there are other times when it is your business that is the glass ball.
yeah,
And you have those conversations with your family, with your children, saying, you know what, right now, mom, grandma needs to focus on this so that we can do this, so that I can have time for this with you. And you have those serious conversations to bring them into what's going on in your business and why you're doing what you're doing for a time. Because there are times when we're kind of full out in our business, when like it's launch season right now. Like I've got to be running social media. Got to be getting these posts up. I've got to do this. I have to do that. Like this is a must do right now. So it's really looking at those things and making sure that the priorities in your life understand why. Why is mom, why is grandma focusing on this right now? Why am I not getting quite as much of attention? And sometimes what you'll find is your family's like, oh, okay, well, what can I do?
Yeah.
How can I contribute to that? How can I support you? And that often takes some of that stress off, because they're like, well, can I take on something to help with that? Yes. Could you make dinner? Yes. Could you clean the bathroom? You know, the nitty gritty of life. Could you pick up the dry cleaning? Could you put in a load of laundry? You know, and delegating those tasks. And that delegation becomes easier when we have those all open conversations about why you need help. And then being willing to ask for help. So many of us are like, I can do it all. I'm superwoman. I have to do it all because I see these other people on social media that it looks like they do it all. No, they don't. They do not do it all. They have help. They have VAs. They have maybe someone who comes in and cleans their house. Maybe they order like Blue Apron, you know, one of those food services, things like that. You know, they're getting help in different ways. You just don't see it. So no one is Wonder Woman doing everything. So that's really a lot of what it takes is glass versus plastic, and having open conversation with your glass priority people when you need to prioritize other things, because your business is glass. Like you need to keep your business running, but you also need to keep your health. You need to keep your relationships. And so when there has to be that shift, having those conversations and delegating.
It's key. It's key. And as you were talking, I remember a couple of things that I wish I had done better, but that I do better now is I define my own priority list, because if you don't define it, others will define it for you. And most of the time, if not all the time, the priorities are by coincidence really well aligned with their priorities. And it looks like your priorities are not even on the list, if they are very low. So making your own list first, so you know what's glass and what's plastic, is huge. And then one thing that I realized, because you said I love the harmony, sometimes it's the business, sometimes it's something else that people might not want it to be a priority. It's having a timeline. It's saying this is going to be the priority for 30 minutes for I'm launching, so it's 2 weeks, and then they know after 2 weeks I get that back. After 2 weeks, everything's gonna go back to my normal, and that way you can honor them. Because some people I notice, they want to know what's happening. Sometimes it's not so much of give me attention. It's like, I know you're doing that, you love it, it's important to you. When are you coming back?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I love that you mentioned priorities, because this is something I do with my clients. I like, stop making a to-do list, because our to-do list is just minutia. And it's just this long list that like we never get through. It transfers from day to day, list to list. There's stuff that's been on 20 to-do lists of yours that you still haven't done. But when you set your daily top 3 priorities, those are your big things that must get done that day. When you focus on the priorities, the to-dos get done.
Yeah.
But when you look at 3 things, that's a lot less overwhelming than that list of 20 things. And I am one of those people that loves being able to check the things off.
Oh my, that check.
Love it. Oh my goodness. I'm like, oh, I can just scratch that out and that and that. So I get it, but it gets very overwhelming. And I try to be really honest about, like, I'm the stress expert, yet I'm in a season right now where I'm kind of stressed. So I was like doing some self-evaluation today of like, okay, there are signs that I'm stressed right now, like very clear signs. So
Like
why am I stressed?
Yeah.
And I was like, so my signs of stress, I'm having night terrors. That's a very clear sign to me. I'm waking up in the middle of the night panicked. That's a very clear sign that I have stress. headaches, heartburn. I also get like esophageal spasms. They're so painful. And so I have some very physical signs that I have stress. So I had to look back and be like, okay, so why am I stressed? And I was like, I am not doing a good job of prioritizing, and I'm not doing a good job of managing my mindset. So I have a lot of things swirling in my head that I have not put down on paper. And that's one of the really important things that I also teach is it's called closing the loops. And so we often try to hold our list in our head of all these things that we need to do, people we need to talk to, all of this stuff. And our brain can only hold so many pieces of information in short term memory before it starts losing things. But if we just take a moment, and it can be on a scrap of paper that you just write those things down. The act of taking the thought from your brain to paper frees up your brain and closes the loop so that your brain can do what it's supposed to do in problem solving and all of that. It frees your brain to do its job. And so I haven't been doing a good job of getting those things onto paper. So I'm like, I try to be really honest about sharing that side of like, I don't do this right all the time. I do still get stressed. But the thing is, I notice it now a whole lot sooner before it gets really, really bad. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is out of balance. I need to take care of it rather than, so I notice the whispers of my body now rather than waiting for it to scream at me. And it can be any numerous type of health issue for people. People actually land in the hospital with legitimate health concerns that are generated from stress. That's the starting point of the health issue that landed them in the hospital. And, it can be migraines, it can be high blood pressure, all kinds of different things. For me, when I'm in extreme stress, I end up with plantar fasciitis. And it will not resolve until I resolve the stress.
Wow. The body is beautiful. The body is such a beautiful thing. And you know what? I have began to understand that what makes us a better coach is that our own journey, it's in the thing that we coach. And because of that, we then can create content, we can create solutions for them for the things that we're figuring out. Like we are our own guinea pigs, which is amazing. So you don't have to have disclaimers like, oh, I'm gonna try this on myself. Let's see if it works. And then it works and you have anecdotal information like this works because I did it. I just went through that. So I think the audience or our clients really appreciate when we are human and we let them know, listen, I might have a business on this and been doing this for a quadrillion years. I still have my days, and this is where I go. This is how I reset my course again and figured out how to get back in line. And I think it makes it easier for them. And because I don't know about you, but it's so easy for me to go into blame mode. I can't believe you're supposed to be better. You're supposed to be more ahead of this. You're doing this yet again. Well, I'm human. Everybody's human.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think people really are wanting to see us be real people.
Yeah.
I think I was looking at something about social media and just kind of the shift going into 2025 is away from that perfection into the being a real person and showing the reality of your journey. And I've always tried to show that, and people have really appreciated that. I'm like, listen, this doesn't work. Don't do this. I tried it. It doesn't work. This is like, and I show up after my workout, sweaty, no makeup, my hair is a mess. I'm like, this is who I am. This is when I have time to talk to you. This is the reality. Every now and then I'm like, hey, here I am, makeup and hair all done and everything. So I think you're right. It's really important to show our journey, and that we are the guinea pigs for it. And right now I'm in a process of just really looking at supplementation for stress management and using myself as the guinea pig for that, and looking at companies that I can partner with because one, I believe in their product. I've tested it. I know how it works for me, but then also I believe in the company and how they run their company. Because I want to be with companies that are ethical and that take care of their clients and really care about them. So I'm like, if you take care of me as someone who's testing your company and not a loyal customer yet, I know you'll take care of my clients.
That is so beautiful. And I love how you're looking at even going further, extending like an arm that extends beyond what you do. It's like, okay, who else can I partner with? Because
Mhm.
there's so many biohacking, I think
Mhm.
it got such a bad rep before because people did not understand that biohacking is how do you get a leg up? How you have, it's almost like a shortcut that works.
Yep.
Why not set yourself up for success? And supplements it's a beautiful field that can give us that leg up when we need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm like, there are things out there that really
Mm.
can help with, because there's so many people when they're struggling with stress, they're struggling with anxiety, they're
Yeah.
struggling with sleep, they're struggling with focus, and there are supplements that help with those. So I'm like, okay, which ones are effective? Which ones are cleanly and ethically produced? Which ones am I willing to try? And do they work? Do they not work? I tried one that like it was super effective for my focus. However, I didn't like how they ran their company. I was like, okay,
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm just not going to go there. I don't want to be part of that. So I'm looking at some others and I'm like, okay, is this one effective? Is it not? I'm like, I do like how they produce their products. I like how they're treating me as a client. Now I need to decide whether or not I like the product. So yeah, there's room for more at the table. This is what I learned in business. So often in organizations, the higher you get up to the top, the fewer there are,
Mm.
right? Like that's just that is the pyramid. Oftentimes we call network marketing pyramid schemes. I'm like, well,
Mhm.
actually, those aren't. But anyway, a regular organization, the higher you get, the fewer there are. But when you're dealing with entrepreneurs, there's room for all of us. There's
Mm.
room for more. Like, let's work together. And I'm working on a collaboration with another woman I just met through a networking event, and so excited to work together with her because we work in a similar space, but we have slightly different ways of approaching it. And so putting our expertise together allows us to help more people. So there's always room for more.
Yeah, that is so good. So, as you're doing all these amazing things and you getting deeper into your business, what are you seeing? Are there any trends that you're seeing that people struggle with the most? Are you seeing that people are open to getting help when it comes to stress management?
Trends, I would say the biggest thing that people struggle with, that they're also very resistant to working on, which I also was resistant to working on, is sleep.
Mm,
I think people don't realize how important sleep is, that that's just foundational and vital. And
yeah.
it actually is easier to work on than you think. Like it's much easier to work on than you think. I just tell people, I'm like, listen, what time did you go to bed last night? I'm not asking you to go from like 4 hours of sleep a night straight to 8. Like that's impossible. That works against your brain. But what time did you go to bed last night? Let's say it was midnight that you went to bed. Well, can you go to bed 2 minutes earlier tonight? And people are like, oh, yeah,
Mhm.
well, sure. So, what I'm doing is I'm helping you work with your brain rather than against your brain. So, we want a challenge that your brain sees as doable. Because when you do it, your brain sees success, you get a hit of dopamine and it wants to do it again. So you do that for a week. And then the next week, you go to bed 2 minutes earlier than that. And the next week, 2 minutes earlier than that. And eventually, you've gone to bed a half hour earlier than you were. And you start to notice differences in your cognition, in brain fog, in your energy, in your afternoon slump, in your recall, and things like that. And even weight loss, because when we're not getting enough sleep, it affects our cortisol, it affects our stress, it affects our mood, it affects our weight. There's so many things that it affects. And let me just give you a quick example of the weight
Please.
loss piece. So I normally get about 7 to 7.5 hours of sleep. I'm working on
Which is
getting to 8.
amazing. That's
I
incredible.
Yeah, I've had to work really, really hard at it. And I
Yeah.
didn't realize what a big difference it made for me, but
Yeah.
it's huge. And so this fall I had something going on, and so I had a night where I got less sleep. I think it was like 6 hours of sleep, which doesn't sound bad because a lot of people are like, oh, that's all I ever get. I'm like, yes, but you don't know how good you could feel if you got more than the 6. you're
Yeah.
you're getting by on your 6. What I was able to notice is, without changing anything else that week, my nutrition was the same, my workouts were the same, it was that half hour to hour difference of sleep. The next day I was starving. I wanted to eat
Mm,
everything in sight, especially the carby things. And that's because sleep affects your hunger hormones. We've got ghrelin and leptin, and ghrelin is your hunger hormone. So when you're not getting enough sleep, you have more ghrelin, which is telling you I need to eat more, I'm hungry, and you start making those choices of just grabbing the easy foods rather than being able to make the wise food choices. Leptin is our satiety hunger hormone telling us that we're good, like we've eaten enough, we're satisfied. And so with less sleep, ghrelin was like screaming in my brain. And that's the difference. That's the
wow.
difference your sleep
Yeah.
makes.
So even if you don't want to, if you don't want to get more sleep for your own health, I think the weight gain and the weight loss might be um, evidence enough or
Mhm.
incentive enough to say, you know what, let me check into this sleep thing.
Yeah, because it also affects your
So,
cortisol, which affects
yeah,
that as well. That's another one. But yeah, it definitely affects your hunger and satiety and your weight. So if you're wanting, you're like, I need to lose weight, start with your sleep because
yeah, that's
then you can make those good food choices.
yeah,
Then you
yeah.
can make those choices to work out, have the energy to work out. So yeah, sleep is vital.
That is so good. I make deals with myself. So Monday through Friday, I go to bed at 10, then
Mhm,
I have an hour to go
mhm.
to fall asleep. So I have that built in. And then on weekends, all bets are off. So my body knows, my mind knows, hey, we just gotta put up with this because I'm a night owl, but I also like to get up early, which is not a good combination. And then I trick myself into a couple of things. So like I love when you said supplements. So I have melatonin next to my bed. I also started doing, I don't know if you do this, magnesium oil on the bottom of my feet
Mhm.
instead of the melatonin. And I've seen a big difference with my sleep patterns.
Yeah, I have heard of using the magnesium oil. I have not tried it. I know there are sprays as well, and I've heard it's super, super effective. Magnesium is an amazing
It
supplement
is, yeah.
because it helps with so many different things. And you just have to make sure you have the right
The
variety
right
of
one. There's so many.
magnesium.
Yes, you gotta
Yeah.
have, yeah.
There's a lot and they're effective for so many things. So yeah, you just have to make sure you have the right one, but it is an amazing, amazing supplement.
That's amazing. So you've been doing this for a little bit now. What are the things that just like make you so happy with the work that you get to do when you help someone with their stress management or elimination?
Yeah. I can tell you, so two things. When I do a full day on site of coaching, whether it's like in a business or a school district or something, those days just charge me up. I get to
Mm,
the end and like, yes, just like you would think it would be exhausting. Like, no, because it's like I'm doing what I'm called to do. I'm helping people. And it's so exciting to just be able to coach so many people back to back and watch them. And usually I do for that 30-minute sessions and watch people come in sometimes going, I don't know who you are, but my boss said I should come talk to you. So
wow.
what's the deal? And to have them walk out in 30 minutes going, oh my goodness, that's exactly what I needed. I can just feel my stress melting away. And they go back more effective, more productive. Um, there's so many benefits to bringing this type of coaching into your business because productive employees are not stressed out employees. Like stressed out
Yeah.
employees, we know when we're stressed, we're not focused, we're not productive, we're not healthy. So I love being able to do that. And then having clients over a period of time. So
Mm.
one-on-one clients, watching the change in them. So I have a client, she's like my star client, and I tell her that she knows I talk about her.
I love
Um,
it.
she came to me at the peak of burnout.
Mm.
She had to leave her job, well, take medical leave from her job because she had a nervous breakdown. She was struggling with health. She wasn't able to get the help that she needed. She wasn't able to see, she lives in Canada. So she was really struggling to get into a doctor, therapist, counselor. I was like, okay, just to be clear, I'm not any of those things. She's like, I know, but I need help. I'm like, okay. Um, and to watch her go from where she was really at her peak of burnout to this fall, watching her log on with me because we do our sessions through Zoom and to just see the love, joy, and
Mm.
peace back in her face. She's a different person. when she logs on with me, and to be able to back off on the number of sessions she has with me, be like, no, you're doing better. Like, you don't need me as much now. That is just amazing to see that, to see the light in her eyes now, and to see her processing and coming to the conclusions on her own of like, this is what I need to do here. And
Yeah.
watching her set these boundaries. I'm so proud of you. It
So
just makes me
good.
so happy. So that just fills me up to see a client make that progress. And I have another one that's like, she hasn't been with me as long. And so to see her at the peak of her burnout and just frustration and exhaustion and wanting joy back, wanting this deep joy and peace, and getting to the point where, one, she can log on and I can tell it's a bad day and just give her space and see her be able to release it and just cry and say, this is what's going on. This is what's overwhelming me. And so to be able to provide that space for people to just say, I'm overwhelmed. This is what's happening. These are all the things that are happening. And then to make the progress from that to log on and say, hey, this happened. Can you help me reframe it? This is my interpretation of it, but I'm not sure my interpretation is right. And so just seeing her get to the point of, I'm not sure my interpretation is right, but I need some help reframing it. That's a really cool growth step too.
Yeah. Oh my God, absolutely. And it must be so satisfying to know you aided in that result. That is amazing. So we talked about so many different things. You gave us an amazing tip on helping with sleep, but being tricking your brain into
Mhm.
having a challenge that it seems doable. I love that. Somebody's listening and you have given them so many tips, but they are on the cusp of burnout. But they're also maybe are not believers that it is possible to do it. Might sound a little hokey, like I'm just gonna see. I'm just gonna push through. What would you tell that person that needs help and it's they think they tried everything, but they really haven't? Like, what is one thing that they could do to kind of like let a little bit of the air out of the tires?
Take a deep breath, breathe in, slowly let it out. I'm a firm believer in breathing exercises. Um, and I probably was one of the non-believers initially in breathing exercises, but they've become my go-to in stress. So that person who's like, I don't have time, I can't afford you, I can't do any of this. Take a deep breath in through the nose, slowly out through your mouth. Do it a few times. It's called a 4-6 breath. This is my go-to relaxation breath when I'm stressed out. I don't even think about it anymore. My body just automatically does it.
Yeah.
Breathe in for a count of 4, and then you breathe out for a count of 6. The key right there is that your exhale is longer than your inhale. And what that tells your brain is you're safe. It is okay to
Mm.
relax. You can calm down. It helps you regulate your nervous system, because when we're stressed out, overwhelmed, all these things going on, I got it, you're just spinning.
Yeah.
This breath brings you back down, regulates your nervous system so that you can think again, to be able to process and problem solve. And so that's my first step for that person is take a deep breath and slowly exhale. Do it 3 or 4 times, and you're going to be able to think and process now.
I love that. And what I love the most about that is that it's portable, right? You can do it
Mhm.
anywhere. Nobody needs to know that you're doing this.
Yeah.
You can be in a conference room, you can be in the middle of a very controversial, very high charge Zoom meeting, and you can be doing this exercise
Mhm.
and nobody will be the wiser, but you can start feeling better almost immediately. Because the
Yeah.
funny thing is when we're stressed, I notice that we don't breathe. We just hold it in and we're just so
You
rigid
get
too.
very shallow and
Yeah,
tight, and your shoulders
yeah,
come up
yeah,
and
yeah.
your
Come
jaw
up.
clenches, your tongue's on the roof of your mouth.
Yeah.
Like that breathing helps bring your shoulders back down, relaxes your jaw, brings your tongue off the roof of your mouth. And like you said, I love that it's portable. It's like my back pocket tool that
Yeah.
I use everywhere. As soon as I feel myself tensing up, it's my automatic reaction now because I've practiced it so much.
It's so good. Oh my God. I can't believe the time has gone by so fast, but
I
I
know.
think we were able to pack. I have my notes because I like to be able to keep the conversation going. And you just gave us so many different reference points. The analogy of the symphony, incredible. Love the harmony part. So good. Do you have anything coming up, or do you have anything that you think our audience will love?
Oh, I have two things. So,
Yay.
and I have a free PDF download. It is my 5 foundations of stress management. And so, what it is there's basically a page for each foundation. There's 5 of them. And then there's small steps that you can take in each of them to get yourself started with movement, nutrition, sleep, hydration, and mindset. Here's my tip. You pick one of those tips in one of those areas as a starting point, and you master that, and then you move from there. So it's like a tip sheet, little booklet for you. Just download it. It's free. It's a PDF. You can print it out. And then two, um, I use as my absolute favorite professional development tool Growth Day, which is an app. And it's such an amazing, amazing tool. I've partnered with the company. So this is one of the companies I've partnered with. Um, and every day it has a short daily life coaching audio. It's called Daily Fire. I listen to it while I get ready in the morning. And I can tell you, I've been using it for over a year now. This has helped me change my mindset
Mhm.
and shift in how I do things and how I see things. There are other tools in there that include like a journal with prompts, a daily growth prompt, a morning mindset, an evening mindset, um, habit trackers, scoring yourself on high performance habits. It has courses from amazing people in personal development. So it's run by Brendan Burchard. He's like
Love him. Yep.
the
Love him.
best personal development person.
Yeah.
And then he has brought together the best in personal development. He's got Lori Harder, Ed Milet, Mel Robbins, Mel Abraham, Anthony Trucks, you name it. If they're in the field, they're in there providing courses. So I highly recommend that. I have a link to a free trial for that so that people can try it out for 7 days. And if you get the free trial, you can also join my group coaching and try a free session of my group coaching, because that's one of the main tools I use with my group coaching. The only requirement I have for being in my group coaching long term is to purchase Growth Day. I
Beautiful.
don't
That's
have any
amazing.
other fee for that.
That's amazing. So we'll make sure to add all those links inside the blog post that will accompany this amazing episode. Naomi, you have been so generous and so passionate. I love your energy and your passion for what you do. Clearly, it has helped you and it's
Yes.
helping your clients. And I'm just so grateful that you were so generous with your time. Where do you hang out the most so people can go and check you out?
Oh, absolutely. So I am on Facebook and Instagram. My handle is the same on both of those. Naomi Hall, Fit Educator, all one word, because I was like, you know what? Like that describes me. Fitness, education, all of that, it all goes together into stress management.
I
So
love that. We'll make sure to add that as well in the blog post. Thank you so much. You have been incredible.
thank you so much for having me. This has been wonderful.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Oh my God, I have 2 pages full of notes because we just had an amazing wealth of information. But I don't want to call it information. I want to call it inspiration for you to have an amazing new year where you can let go of so many things that have been holding you hostage and you can flourish into the amazing person that you were created to be. Please, your homework is that you listen to this show twice and take action. Naomi mentioned a couple of amazing things, resources that you can take advantage of. And she used one of my favorite words, free. And if it's free, it's for me. So check that out. Please know that I love you, that I'm rooting for you, and I'm going to see you super duper soon.